Good evening, everybody. Welcome to One Hub Racing for the first of what could be 3 championship deciding races tonight. In Podium, Precision and Pinnacle, there are 3 drivers who are looking very good to take the Drivers' Championship. And in the first one tonight, the Podium tier, it is Eva Hannon, 37 points ahead of Nikki, who is in the Renault. Eva Hannon in the Mercedes, looking to follow in the footsteps of Nexus Iceman last year. Can he secure it? Round 9 out of 10 here at season 15 from really the spiritual home of the Formula 1 World Championship. The same track that the first race took place over 70 years ago. It is Silverstone for the British Grand Prix. Alongside me tonight we have a former driver from the Podium tier last year. Not Liam this time around. It is Sam. And Sam, Eva Hannon, do you think he'll be feeling the nerves a bit? Because he seemed pretty cool so far this season.
I mean, as much as I would love to be in the position of Eva Hannon, because if you don't forget the start of the season, I was on about maybe going for the Podium tier title, but obviously I got put in Precision tier, and that obviously stopped that tracks. But obviously as someone, well, not as someone who's been in this situation before, but someone who knows people who've been in this situation before, I definitely know that it does crack a lot of pressure, because you know that obviously to win a championship is so difficult, because you've got so many people looking for you to prove your point, and if you don't prove your point, you're obviously under even more pressure. I think with the 38 point gap that he's got, though, he's got a security over Nikki at this current point. However, a simple retirement tonight and Nikki winning this race, remember, could really close that in and really put even more pressure on the Mercedes driver.
Yeah, the simplest situation for the drivers, if Eva Hannon finishes third, or on the podium anyway, he will take the championship no matter what Nikki can do. If Eva Hannon scores no points, Nikki has to finish 4th or higher to take it to the next round. A traditional scene of many title deciders next week, the Interlagos circuit. If you weren't with us for the race last week, Nikki and Eva Hannon didn't really feature high up the order, both involved in incidents early on. Eva Hannon in fact had 2 spins, was very lucky not to retire at any point during the race, and it was Riley who took his first win of the season, his first ever win at One Hub, starting from 19th on the grid. Best performances of the season also for Rich and Lee Hoffner, who were 2nd and 3rd, but it was a question of what might have been for Polnage Town. Made his debut last time out in the Toro Rosso, forgot to make 2 stops, and that cost him any chance of getting a victory. Let's not forget he crossed the line first, would have had a podium after penalties, but in the end came home with nothing. Aaron got his best finish of the season as well in 4th, Nikki 5th, Catboy Key finishing 6th in the end. That is despite a 20-second penalty, I think the biggest we've seen in this tier this season, aside from qualifying and race bans, and that was for the incident that you may have seen right at the end of the virtual safety car period between Catboy, Gaza and Dexter. It led to Gaza and Dexter retiring from the race. Catboy will have been gutted about that, because he's been showing good form lately. In fact, both Haas drivers suddenly seem to have stepped up the pace a bit.
They definitely have, and like you said with Riley as well, what a performance it was last week. Obviously the premium driver obviously getting his first victory in One Hub, and I'm really proud of him, because I know he's a very good driver and a very intelligent driver as well, and to obviously win the race obviously from the back of the grid basically as well, it's even more of an achievement to win your first race in that style. I mean, going on to what you said about Nikki and Eva Hannon, who didn't really show up, I mean, it was, let's be honest, it was really a big opportunity for Nikki to really claw himself back in. And I mean, although he beat Eva Hannon, you can argue he kind of didn't really, like, he didn't really show up in some sense. Well, he did, but he didn't, if that makes sense. He could have got a lot more, is what I'm basically saying. And obviously, he's now 37 points behind, and now he's in a scenario where he's basically got to win both the races, unless Eva Hannon obviously retires from both. Going on to what you said, a lot of people got their best results of the season so far, such as Aaron, for example, and obviously all the 3 guys who've got a podium, they've obviously got their first podium as well. All of them did, so it's a really good weekend for them 3, and I'm hoping they can keep that consistency up, perhaps.
Yeah, we'll have to see. You might, if you cast your eyes back way back to the start of the season, before the start of the season, really, qualifying night, this was the circuit that they used, and a few of the drivers will have been sandbagging, that is definite, but it was actually Rich and Lee Hoffner were the two fastest drivers around this circuit that are in the podium tier on qualifying night. So we'll have to see whether they can carry that form forward. The drivers were asked in the pre-race interviews whether they'd be able to improve on their times, and I think it's fair to say most of the drivers think that they will be able to do better than last time, but as has so often been the case in podium tier this season, and it's very possible in Britain, as I look outside my very grey window at the moment, the rain could always play a big factor here at Silverstone.
Let's not forget what Jess has been saying all season to us. She prays that there's no rain, and I'm pretty sure every track, but of course the obvious one to feature no rain, Bahrain, has featured rain. And as we wait, let's see, has Jess dodged the qualifying? Last week we saw about what Catboy Key did, and obviously you were talking about he got a 20-second time penalty for it. He obviously replied, "I feel awful. Apologise to both. I should have been more." Like, not all drivers are going to have the perfect season or the perfect race, and all drivers are going to make mistakes at points and are going to perhaps think differently to other drivers, or perhaps, the game doesn't really help them, but like I said, who knows, but in my opinion, he shouldn't feel so bad because it was just a simple mistake, and obviously apologies was necessary.
Yeah, I apologise for the slight interruption there in the stream. My game kindly decided to disconnect me, and we had connection issues last week, which in the end saved Jess from another wet race around Belgium. So hopefully things will be able to keep themselves nice and clean from now on. But this Silverstone circuit is a favourite of many of the drivers, been pretty much a mainstay on the calendar right back from the early days. Only this, Brands Hatch and Aintree have hosted the British Grand Prix. We did have Donington hosting a one-off European Grand Prix, and it has changed quite a lot. The latest big change coming in 2010 with the addition of this new loop section, with that change being finished off with a new pit lane in 2011. And I'm going to be honest with you, I really preferred the old circuit with bridge. I just loved that final sector, and I'm not as big of a fan of this one.
I'm going to have to disagree with you. Of course, I'm not really probably old enough to really remember like the old part of the British Grand Prix, and although I think it was called Bridge the Straight with it, correct me if I'm wrong, that's obviously iconic to the British Grand Prix to some people, I still don't think that was really that great. I like this that we've got now, we have seen crucial moments even at the start or even at the end as well. Like at the start of the race 2 years ago, I think it was Lewis Hamilton who crucially spun around. And obviously that was when Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton were literally like neck and tongue for the title that season. So it's caused some crucial moments so far, and recent years especially, I think it's really been a great section of the track. So I don't really agree with you on that one personally.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't do for us all to have the same opinion, so as long as the drivers are enjoying it, it'll be 26 laps here tonight, but first we have got this 18-minute qualifying session, and we'll go on board with Catboy Key. He's going to be the first driver to try and set a hot lap. In fact, I think Ponage might be just ahead of him, but Haas driver of the day 2 races ago got a big penalty last time out. How can he recover as he heads now around Village, heading onto Aintree? Before you get to the Wellington Straight, the first DRS straight here at Silverstone, the Hanger Straight, of course, the scene of that famous Mansell Nelson Piquet pass 33 years ago now. Braking hard there into Brooklands. You don't want to run too wide for Luffield. On Luffield, a very interesting corner. It's just one smooth corner now, but many drivers do like to take it as a double apex right-hander to try and get the best possible run down the old pit straight as we head towards Copse Corner, a fearsome corner in a modern Formula 1 car. You can see a lift there from Catboy Key, still remaining in 7th gear, over 160 mile an hour. And then this famous sequence of corners, often copied, never bettered, Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel, leading onto the Hanger Straight. DRS will be open once again as we come towards the end of the second sector, heading under the bridge there, coming down towards Stowe. The game can be pretty liberal with track limits around this final corner. As you can see there, Catboy Key running very wide, but he'll be allowed to get away with that. And then Vale and Club to finish off the lap here. All about getting this corner nice and smooth. Don't want to take too many risks with that curb and running wide. And it's a 128.654 for Catboy Key on the medium tyres. His teammate went fastest with a 127.743, and that has been instantly beaten by Jonas Ulbricht with a 127.720. So I think that shows you how much these drivers have improved. Rich going fastest now, 127.447, 8 tenths faster than what he managed on qualifying night. Part of that will be an improvement. Part of that might be a bit of sandbagging on his behalf on quali night.
You can suppose so, but literally as you say that, Dexter then gets the fastest lap straight away from Rich when you say that. So you could argue it's sandbagging. However, who knows? It could just be a favourable track for Rich, let's be honest, because as someone who favours this track quite heavily myself, it obviously got me into the positions here. I could guarantee you if it was some other track, say for example, if it was to choose maybe Germany, for example, I'm relatively a bit bad at Germany. I'm not exactly as great as I am here at Britain, and maybe that was probably what the decider is. And like you say, obviously you can argue that some of these drivers were sandbagging on that quali night. You could also argue that maybe this isn't their track. It's very difficult to really call out a driver for those sort of things. You could either think they're just outperforming themselves, or maybe they've made mistakes, but who knows? It's very difficult to prove, but at the end of the day, he is the quickest driver on this grid around Britain, according to data. We'll have to just see whether he can prove that.
Yeah, not doing a bad job so far. 127.447. Alfa Romeo, they'll be very happy while their two drivers are doing. Dexter in second, last week's race winner, not wanting to do a last to first challenge 2 weeks in a row. Would much rather do first to first, and Riley with a 127.299. We've just watched Astronauty go around into 6th place, 127.831. Teammate of Eva Hannon hasn't had a podium for a while, and could really do with finding some of that form again in the Drivers' Championship. He's now in 5th, just 8 points behind Riley in 3rd. But Mercedes, 53 points ahead of Red Bull at the moment. So it's a really big opportunity as well for Mercedes to clinch the Constructors' Championship tonight, as long as they avoid being outscored by Red Bull, who do have both their drivers, and I think by Renault. But judging by the fact that Renault only have Nicky, I think it's going to be a very difficult ask for Nicky to get Renault still in the Constructors' Championship. Most of the drivers have done their first lap so far. Riley, the fastest of everyone. Dexter second, Rich third. Aaron, he enjoys this alternative strategy, I must say. He's the fastest of those on the medium tyres. Interesting to see Indecisive Max gone for the hard tyres. Pirelli do bring their 3 hardest tyres here for Silverstone, and that does mean tyre wear not as big of a factor as you'd see at some other circuits.
Well, this isn't, for me personally, it isn't really a tyre affecting track, so picking the hard tyres, I don't think it's the greatest decision, but, you know, all the FIA is different, as I stumble on my words. I want to come across about the Constructors' Championship. Obviously, it's really unfortunate for Nicky tonight, because Nicky's got to do it all out alone, and Renault obviously being third in the Constructors right now, they're the most unlikely to win it out of the 3. But without no TC as his teammate here tonight, is not here tonight, it's going to be rather tough for Nicky to win it all on his own. In fact, he may even be out of it tonight altogether. As for Red Bull, they need a good performance here tonight from Rich and Gazaman. I know Gazaman's got great consistency and good race pace as well. He can definitely perform, and obviously, like you said, Rich, he's got a big pressure on his shoulders to perform here tonight, because this seems to be one of his top tracks. Going obviously by the data that you obviously discovered earlier. So it's going to be very, 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 very interesting to see how the Red Bulls do, but also how the Mercedes do, who obviously are looking to get that Constructors' Championship again like they did last season with Iceman and Ivan. So who knows?
Yeah, and Mercedes did enjoy this circuit last year, because Iceman and Ivan was a 1-2 there for Iceman. Ivan second, and Estimat in 3rd position. The most successful driver around this Silverstone circuit at One Hub. Once again, Ermi's had 3 wins, Jono's had 2. No one on this grid has won a race here at One Hub, either at Silverstone at least. Eva Hannon, he'll be hoping to take that win, because that will really secure the championship. Last week was the first time someone outside of pole position has won, but he'll be hoping to take his 2nd pole in a row and hoping for a much more conventional race, although I think he'll be wanting that back. He wishes he took a much more conventional line through Brooklands there, ran very wide. That would have compromised him into the first part of Luffield. We'll see what kind of lap time he can do. Yet to set a lap, neither has Nicky Gazaman or Zach. Zach does have a qualifying ban that carried over from Germany as he was absent last time out, and that was for an accident with Kingen, as Eva Hannon taking way too much curb there at Magates, and that has invalidated his lap time, leaving it pretty late in the session to try and set a lap.
Well, he has invalidated again. I tell you, you were stumbling across about who Eva Hannon will be looking for the win tonight, or, well, anyone would be looking for the win tonight. I think someone who will be looking at it quite desperately is Catboy Key. Of course, going back to Germany, he won that race on track, and he claims that he actually had a penalty which he needed to remove, but he forgot to. And that could have been his first ever win in one hub racing, and it's really unfortunate for Catboy Key because he's actually had a really decent season, and he's actually done really well. And obviously Germany could have been that crowning moment where he gets that victory, but it didn't happen. And I think after what's happened at Belgium as well, he really wants to redeem himself as much as possible, and I think a win tonight would definitely be a good redemption, as Astronauty, Eva Hannon's teammate, goes a bit off the track there and he'll have to go for another run.
Yeah, he's just taking it nice and steady now. Astronauty saving a bit of fuel, saving a bit of ERS, and yeah, just running off the track at Corps, trying to get well out of the way, I would have said, but there's no one behind him. So 7 minutes 25 seconds to go in this qualifying session. We've still got Alfa Romeo 1-2 as they look to get their way up towards the top of this championship. Jonas, who was just watching on his outlap in the McLaren, things haven't gone to plan for him in the last couple of races. Only scored 6 points since he got his podium in Singapore. That's still his best result of the season. He's looking good at the moment in third. His teammate Truth NRP in seventh. And there we go, Rich clearly does enjoy this track. Done a very good job since joining Red Bull. Got points on his debut in Germany and he's had a second place last time, very nearly a win after managing to take them as hard tyres, about 18-19 laps around Belgium. Incredible job from him. He's fastest man out on track at the moment, moving just ahead of Riley. I was going to say before he set that time, we've got Lee Hoffner in fifth, and Catboy Key did say in the interviews his target is to try and get into the top 10 of the championship, and he wants Haas to overtake McLaren at the moment, because Truth NRP, he's not really had the best season so far, getting disqualified last time out, actually, for, I think there was a pit lane blockage, and he ended up having to reverse and got himself disqualified. Unfortunate for him, but he'll be hoping for a better race this time, as will his teammate, because Truth and Jonas, again, we know Jonas is a quick driver. Things just not gone well for him as Nicky. That's a statement. 126.983.
He's on it tonight. He really wants to prove his point. Obviously, Eva Hannon needs to come back at that. Simply because Eva Hannon cannot really afford to be down in 17th, can he? Like, we know, obviously, what happened with Riley Bites, but obviously, that's Riley. He's a different driver. He's probably got a different style to Eva Hannon. Obviously, Eva Hannon's also been used to being at the front a lot this season, which obviously means that he actually has to do a lot more work than what he's done in previous races to get up the field and prove a point that he's a fighting champion. But Nicky really put out a statement there, getting into the 26s, the first one. And Aaron there as well, a 27-1, almost getting into the 26s as well.
Yeah, Aaron's been impressing me lately. He's shown a bit more of the form we expected, because me and Liam did expect him to be one of the favourites for this championship. Finished on track just behind Catboy Key in Germany, but penalties dropped him down to 5th place. Had his best finish last time around in 4th, so he could really show some good form at the moment. Someone else who had their best result of the season so far in Spa was the driver we're on board with now, Jess Gamer. Got her 2nd points finish of the season, but her first one for being in the top 10. Her other one was for taking the fastest lap for those drivers outside the top 10 in Bahrain. She'll be happy with her performance. She said she's aiming to try and get top 15 in the championship, although I don't think she prefers this track as much as she does some of the others. She's really found it hard this season. Thankfully for her, though, it looks like it's going to be staying dry, and it looks like she is going to improve just behind Stevie Hart at the moment. That is a 130.534, but indecisive Mac, now that he's gone onto the medium tyres, having a bit more luck with a 130.192. All those drivers having their best result of the season last time out. Belgium was really a race of attrition. The barrier's a bit more forgiving here at Silverstone, a lot more runoff areas, so the drivers might be able to push a bit harder in the race, knowing they won't get as punished for the mistakes.
Yeah, and obviously, we obviously know for the infamous Stowe corner how much you can cut that, and actually you can get away with that as well. Cutting the corners is very difficult to really catch people out. As Everhanen, I was saying that he needed to put a response in, and oh boy has he, a 26.8 now. As we now close towards the end of the session, we're now getting into the 26s. We've got a bunch of people on their laps already, even though they should probably go into the pits really and try and get in one more lap a bit later, because obviously it's all about going right to the end, but some people are on a lap, and I want to see the times go down now, because they definitely will be heading that way. Going back to Belgium, like you said though, obviously the podium was their first podium. All of them got their first podiums this season, and I think Riley in third place is on for a second one if he obviously keeps where he is, but who knows, as Cat McKee comes around the final corner, so 27.7 moves him up to 9th place, just behind his teammate Lahofner as well, who was also on a lap, coming through the final 2 corners as well. Keep an eye on this one, he's looking quite good through here. It's a 27.3, could have probably put a little bit more speed through that corner, but he's up to 6th place anyway, beating Dexter's time. And it looks like Indecisive is not going to be setting another lap.
Yeah, so Indecisive seems to be happy with where he is at the moment. 14th, Astronauty 11th. He's just been knocked outside of the top 10 by Catboy Key. And reminder that those starting outside the top 10 will get free choice of tyres for the race, although we do still expect a majority of the field to start on the soft tyres. Ideal strategies for this circuit: soft, medium, soft, or soft, soft, medium. Hopefully this time out everyone will remember that all important 2 pit stop rule. We don't want another disqualification. Going on board now with Gazzaman, his first DNF of the season last time around in Belgium, no fault of his own of course. First time he's failed to score a point actually all season. Ever the consistent man, Gazzaman. He got a podium in the last race of last season at Abu Dhabi. I'm sure he'll be hoping that he can get onto the roster again in the final 2 races here, but what can he do in the Red Bull, leaving it pretty late? I'll be interested to see whether he's got enough fuel to do another lap, because I don't think he'll have enough ERS. So this looks like pretty much being it for Gazzaman in the Red Bull. His teammate is currently 5th, can only move up to 13th at the moment. So you've got to say, with Everhanen being on pole position, it's looking good for himself in the Drivers' Championship and Mercedes in the Constructors' Championship. 1 minute 15 seconds to go. It's Everhanen, Nicky and Riley Buys, top 3 drivers at the moment.
Yeah, there's a bit of a gap between the top and bottom, and I'm just wondering if perhaps we are going to see rain in the race. I always come up with these silly assumptions that because I'm hopeful for rain, because sometimes it does cause quite a bit of chaos, and also the grid's kind of up and down. Everhanen gave up on his lap, he must have invalidated somewhere, or he realised he was too late, as he does come out of the pits. But Rich is on a lap right now. I don't know if he was up or down, he looks like he's down. Oh, Astronaut, he leaves the session. Well.
Yeah, and he was heading round. He was looking pretty good as well, so that's a shame for Astronauts, because that will be his qualifying over. Down in 11th, but he'll get free choice of tyres, so he'll be hoping for a better performance. We've got a few drivers now getting ready to start their flying laps. One driver who has just started his is Aaron. 4th position at the moment, just over 3/10 of pole. This will be his best qualifying performance of the season. The Ferrari drivers beginning to find some form at the end of this season. They are currently struggling a bit in the Constructors' Championship, nowhere near where you would expect the Ferrari team to be. Down in 7th position on 40 points, only Williams, Toro Rosso and Racing Point behind them. Checkered flag is out. Aaron has improved slightly in the first sector. If you look further up the field, we've got Riley, he's just coming towards the end of the first sector. Nicky heading through Maggett, Beckett and Chapel now. Knows this is a fantastic opportunity. The track will be at its best now. Can Nicky improve and take his first pole position of the season, put him in a prime spot to maybe just keep that Drivers' Championship alive another week? And he's improving, Sam. He's up on his personal best by 1.5 tenths. Keeps it clean through the final sector. This will be good enough.
Oh, he's down by the smallest amount. as he does come in to set the free. Stowe's going to be interesting because drivers can cut here. And like I said earlier, Aaron doesn't do that. So Aaron does respect the track limits. He does keep in the limits, which is good. As he comes through the final 2 corners now then, let's see what time he's going to be. Could he be into 126s? Oh, he's just missed it, but he is in the low 127s, and he does probably keep 4th place. However, Riley come around the final corner now as well, and he's up to 4th place, so he's not been able to beat Nicky. And as we've missed that, Jonas has got pole position.
Yeah, fantastic lap from Jonas Albert, the McLaren driver, showing the form that we've seen before when he was in the podium tier early on in his career. Fantastic lap from him. Alex Lilliard there managed to improve, but unfortunately for him could only stay in 14th, so it looks like it's going to be another battling race for both of the Racing Point drivers. But what a lap from Jonas Ulbricht, really pulling it out of the bag in the end. Even Hannon will be happy starting second, but he's got Nicky not too far behind him. This is going to be a very fascinating race that could well decide the drivers and the Constructors' Championship. So there you go, Jonas, Eva Hannon, Nicky, your top 3. Riley showing off his good form again in 4th. Aaron 5th, Rich in 6th. Danish 4th row with Lee Hoffner and Dexter. Polish Town 9th in the Toro Rosso. Catboy Key is 10th. Astronauty disconnected. Hopefully he'll be able to rejoin. He will have 3 choice of tyres if he does so in 11th. As will Truth, Gazaman, Alex Elliott, Indecisive Max, Stevie Hart, Jess Gamer. Of course, Zach Jarvis had that qualifying ban, so watch out for him to try and fight his way up through the order. Eva Hannon, he'll be pretty happy, I think, with that session. He won't be too worried about Jonas being ahead of him. He's just going to try and match Nicky in this race, knowing that will be good enough to get him the title.
Well, yeah, and the Mercedes team, this is where I think it's going to be interesting for Eva Hannon. He doesn't exactly have Astronauty, his teammate, who currently is not in the session, if I'm aware. He's not in the session currently. This is going to be really, really interesting because that Mercedes team, as I say, they're feeling very calm tonight from the question they got from Spa because it was a blip. Well, with only one of the drivers participating, and if, say, for example, they get a bad start, it could be another blip on its way. So the Mercedes boys could really struggle. If I don't even think Astronauty can get in here now because we're onto a formation lap. And I think it's now too late for him to actually take in. And here he is. He's just joined, but I think it's too late. I don't think he can actually join and jump in his car, unfortunately. So it looks like the double podium is off the cards now for Mercedes, unfortunately. But who knows? Maybe he can get in his car.
Yeah, I think he will be too late. I've seen this happen before, and if you're not in by the time you get to the formation lap, that is it. So I don't think he'll be allowed to get hold of his car, which is such a shame for him. Obviously, he's in that battle for 3rd place in the Drivers' Championship with Jonas and Riley, and they're both starting high up the grid. So I'll have to see what happens here because he won't be able to get into his car, I believe. So shame for him. Jonas obviously getting his first pole position of the season. Only the 3rd different pole sitter. We've had Eva Hannon. He had 4 before this race, he had 5 actually before this race, sorry. And Chris, who unfortunately had to leave the league, he'd had 3. They've really been the class of the field. And I think Nicky, he's going to need to step up to a different level tonight because in the races where Eva Hannon's kept it nice and clean, he seems to have had the edge over the Renault driver.
We could be restarting. I've just looked in the chat and I think Gazaman has said that there is a chance that we could be restarting. I don't think it'll. Yep, you don't think it'll let. That's what we're thinking. But waiting for updates. But I don't think he can get in because, like you said, when you get to the formation lap, no one can really actually get in, unfortunately. So it's either a restart of the session or we're getting underway, and it looks like we're getting underway. And is this without Astronauty? I believe so. I believe there is no way Astronauty can join in, unfortunately, which would be very, very unfortunate. And a bit of a hindrance for Eva Hannon, because I know him and Astronauty are friends. They're both Finnish. Obviously, I'm not coming to the assumption, but I would have thought as teammates they have been working together all season, which obviously means that obviously puts them to the top of the Constructors' Championship. And it's a bit of a blow, but I think Eva Hannon should be fine. He just needs a good start off the line and making sure that Nicky doesn't get past him or he doesn't get into any instances in the first few corners. which is definitely a possibility as well, let's not forget.
Yeah, especially Village, the corner we're just seeing Jonas go around at the moment. That is where, a couple of years ago, Kimi Räikkönen tagged the back of Lewis Hamilton and sent the Brit spinning around. We'll now check the tyres that the drivers are on. We knew the top 10 were on the softs. Everyone else also starting on the softs, apart from Indecisive on the hards. Jess and Zach going for the medium tyre. So Indecisive planning to maybe go really long in this race. And given the amount of safety cars we've seen this season, this game, ever since it got updated recently, absolutely loves a safety car, and especially in the early stages. In fact, Indecisive Max tagged the back of Alex Lilliart under the formation lap, and he's been sent to the grid. It could have been Jess, actually, because Jess has also been sent to the grid, so that's a shame for those guys. Thankfully, no damage, but Eva Hannon, he's got to be looking good. If he finishes on the podium, doesn't matter if Nicky wins. Podium will be good enough for Eva Hannon to get himself the trophy of the Podium Tier Champion for Season 15, a £20 PSN voucher, and of course a wheel stand from our sponsors, Next Level Racing, and you can check them out in the description below. But they don't want to get involved in any incidents in these first couple of laps. They don't want to have to find themselves fighting up from the back of the field again.
Yeah, definitely not. And obviously, you know, from Next Level Racing, that's a huge thing on the line for Eva Hannon, and that even makes it even more pressurizing for you. We were talking about pressure at the start of this race and start of qualifying. It is huge pressure on Eva Hannon, and obviously if he wins tonight, he knows what is coming his way if that's the case. A wheel stand from Next Level Racing, and that, I think, costs around £100 as well, and you're getting that completely for free because you've won a championship. It's a huge honour to obviously win a championship here, if you obviously get those bits as well. And obviously if he is a wheel user as well, that's going to be coming very in handy for him. But yeah, you can check it out, of course, at nextlevelracing.com, where they also have things such as accessories. They even have flight simulator cockpits, which is very interesting indeed, if that does float your boat. But we are more towards the racing tonight.
Yeah, they do a wide range of products that make sure that everything in life is nice and exciting when it comes to sim racing, and I'm sure we're going to have a very exciting race here. All the grid now lined up as we wait for the lights to come on. Can Eva Hannon clinch the championship, or will Nicky take it to the next round in this Battle of Britain? We're underway now. It's a good start from Eva Hannon, trying to get alongside Jonas straight away. Was just lagging a bit there, so he's able to get clear into the first corner. Riley has blasted past Nicky already, and Aaron's trying to have a go at the Renault driver as well. So it's Jonas still in the lead, then Eva Hannon, Riley. Nicky still ahead at the moment as Rich. Now he tries to take advantage of Aaron getting a bit balked by the Renault, tries to get past, but not able to do so this time around. So the front few drivers beginning to escape away. Everyone, I think, has got through the first corners cleanly. That is a good thing to see after what happened at Eau Rouge last time around. So the McLaren's still leading. Great start though from Eva Hannon, just because obviously Nicky ended up dropping down a position, and as we see, the position changed already. Kaplan Key has dropped 3 places. Astronaut it's showing us dropped 7. Unfortunately, he will not be able to get back racing at the moment. We've got a battle further down the field. Truth NRP's had a great start to this race. He's just moved up another place, getting past Ponish Town up into 9th position. But nightmare start from Nicky there, Sam. He'd have really been hoping to pressure Eva Hannon into the first few corners. He's ended up dropping behind Riley.
Yeah, it's all we were talking about pressure with Eva Hannon. It's also with Nicky as well, isn't it? Obviously, to even defend from Eva Hannon, because Eva Hannon has been so dominant this year. 5 pole positions and 4 wins as well, and obviously could for the 5th win tonight, and obviously probably a championship clinching win. And Nicky has not won a race this season, which makes it even more pressurising for him. And the start, it's not the start he wanted. He got jumped by Riley. Probably a little bit shaky on the pedals at the start, and Riley just got the better start. Riley hasn't got much to play for. He just wants them victories. He wants more victories this season, which is quite good for him in his One Hub career stats, of course. Obviously, his first victory, he wants to make that too. Eva Hannon, though, on the first lap was a little bit shaky, though, through Brooklands coming down to Luffield as well. He was a little bit shaky, went a little bit wide. Riley was not able to capitalise, and Eva Hannon does stay in 2nd place. But like you said, it's a poor start for Nicky, and not a start he would have wanted.
No, so Eva Hannon now just needs to focus. Staying where he is will be good enough. Nicky has to try and fight his way through the field. Will he try something different, on the strategy. Everyone does have to make 2 stops, of course, but pit stop timing, oh so important around here, just because it is such a long pit lane, and that was something all the drivers noted in their pre-race interviews. One of the longest pit lanes, I believe, on the calendar. You do end up skipping the last couple of corners, but because of that, the pit lane limit starts ridiculously early, so having to make an extra pit stop for damage, if that is the case for anyone, would be fatal to their chances. Riley looking very racy on the back of Ivahanen at the moment. No DRS this time around, and I think the Mercedes driver will be happy about that. It's further down the field, Lee Hofner, he's going to try it maybe round the outside at Stowe. That'll be a very brave move this early on in the race, and thinks better of it this time around. Rich just holding on to that 6th place for now. We saw a Red Bull get clonked in the back earlier on this year around that corner, and Lee Hofner in the end decided not to go for Rich into Vale, so he stays behind for now. Jonas Olbrich though trying to pull away at the front of the field, getting that gap to just over a second. He wants his first win since returning to the podium tier. He's now 1.1 seconds ahead of Ivahan, and then it's Riley, Nicky, Aaron, Rich, Lee Hofner, Dexter, Truth and Ponage Town, the top 10 drivers at the moment.
Jonas in the zone, Riley's still keeping with him, same with Nicky. Nicky's doing alright now. There was a little bit of a scrap for 12th place near the back there. In fact, I think it was for 11th, but I think Gazaman and Portage Town as well got away from them. But Alex Lilliard through the third sector was battling with Catboy Key, and it was a really interesting battle, and I think Catboy Key did come out eventual winner of this battle, and I think he's gotten away now, and he's now going to be chasing down the Red Bull of Gazaman in 11th, and obviously Portage Town in 10th place as well. You've got Truth NRP as well looking for Dexter at the moment, but we're going to get to a certain situation now with DRS Open where we've got these trades, and this is not what we like to see mainly because it's quite difficult to overtake. But just look at Truth. He's come through those corners so much better than Dexter. However, on the exit of the corner, Dexter's just got away from Truth, which has not helped him at all. And that's what I mean. The trains they do mean that Truth, Le Hoffner, etc., they cannot really overtake. I say Le Hoffner, but he's at the front of it, so he would have been fine anyway.
Yeah, it does make it pretty difficult. It does maybe possibly offer an opportunity for drivers that are in the train that do have DRS to save a bit of fuel, save a bit of DRS, and it already looks like Truth needs to do saving on both them fronts. That yellow marker there meaning he is low on fuel at the moment, and if he carries on the current race, he would not make it to the checkered flag. He's in 9th at the moment. His teammate, though, still leading this race. Ivahanen, though, close that gap slightly, so the Mercedes pushing. He has got DRS this time around down the Wellington Straight. He's going to be too far back. It's not really worth Jonas defending this. You don't want to defend fresh air, as that is when you start losing grip to the car behind, starting taking sub-optimal lines, and then you're really struggling.
Truth went down the inside. I don't know about that move. It was very, very optimistic. I didn't mean to obviously cut you off there. Apologies about that, but Truth went down the inside. I saw it coming. He was getting close to Dexter. I'm not so sure about that move. I felt like it was quite aggressive, like you pushed him out the way, really. A little bit too optimistic, but it was fine. No damage. No drivers been put out anywhere, and now Dexter's got a good run on Truth again, but he's going to have to wait for the end of Maggots and Beckett's, and obviously Chapel, and then onto the Hangar Straight. Just needs a better exit, which he's got, and he's definitely going to get him here. There's no doubt about that. So we could also see Portage Town get him as well. Look at this, Portage Town even may get Dexter here. Oh, he backs out of it. That is pretty good from Portage Town, not taking too many risks, only on lap 4 here. And we've got some people in the pits. We've got Nicky and Aaron in the pits, so that's really interesting. That's quite early as well for the soft tyres. Obviously they do have to make 2 stops, but obviously you can't make the softs last until they've peaked, which for Nicky and Aaron, they think that the softs have peaked in performance, and they're now going to go on to the medium. So it looks to me that they're favouring a soft, medium, soft strategy, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, we'll have to see how they do. Aaron was pretty good in qualifying on the medium tyres, we have to say. So that has promoted Rich now up into 4th place, and because of that move from Truth on Dexter, that has given Lee Hofner a bit of free air behind him. He doesn't have to worry about defending. He can just go on the attack on Rich at the moment. Can he get a second podium in a row? Can both of these drivers get a second podium in a row? But Rich has a bit of a gap to make up.
Truth's round. Truth is round. Again, he was all over the place into the corner. He was around the outside of Portage Town, and I believe he just sent it around the outside. There was no point. He locked up. He went wide on the track, came on with Gazaman, and it just basically fell apart for him. It was silly from Truth, in my opinion. He shouldn't have really gone for the move. He should have just stuck it around the outside, but he's now down to 11th and out the points. And he's also got a bit of wing damage, I believe, from that as well, because there was an end plate flying. And looking at the car's position and looking also at Gazzaman as well, it doesn't look like it's Gazza's. So Truth probably being a bit silly there and maybe a bit too aggressive, and that's kind of caused him to get wing damage. Luckily, he can come into the pits and get that repaired now, and luckily a lot of people are coming into the pits as well. However, he's going to lose a good lot of time, around 5-6 seconds, because remember, it takes a bit longer to replace a wing as well as your tyres.
Yeah, we have seen a few drivers coming on this lap. Dexter, Ponies, Gaza, Alex Lilliart, Truth obviously coming in to replace that front wing as well. Dexter getting a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, so he will have to serve that at his next pit stop. Not ideal at all, but the front guys doing pretty well at the moment, making their tyres last, and it's closing together. Less than a second separating Jonas, Ivahanen and Riley at the moment. Nicky coming out in 11th now after we've seen a few more pit stops. Aaron in 12th, and he's pretty close to the back of that Renault as well, so a lot could depend on how well those two manage to get their way through the field. They're just on the back of Jess and Stevie Hart, not too further ahead either at the moment. So lap 6 of this race, Jonas still hanging on in the lead, pulled away a bit in the first couple of laps, but Ivahanen has been able to quickly get onto the back of that McLaren, and Riley has actually gone along with him. Riley getting a bit of a better exit there, but Chapel, it's a high downforce corner, and these cars do not like being in the dirty air. It's pretty much the worst corner imaginable you can have before the DRS zone, because you really struggle if you're behind another car. Will we see any of these guys pit and react? Riley. Yeah, Riley diving into the pits.
Yeah, good decision from Riley. I looked at the lap times, I looked at the sector, and it's just getting worse each lap now. I looked on the race director. The first 3 laps, it was getting quicker and quicker as the tyres continued to warm up, but then eventually they've just fallen off a little bit more, and they're getting worse in pace, which I think it was a good choice from Riley to start coming in on lap 6 and maybe not a lap 4 or lap 3, because I felt like that was a way too early to pit. But mind you, you've got a pit stop out the way there, and we will see that Zach Jarvis moving up to 3rd place. He started at the back of the grid, remember. He's now up to 3rd place. He hasn't made a pit stop, however I think he's favouring the medium soft strategy, which is one of the strategies we didn't mention. We've mentioned soft medium soft and soft medium, but medium soft can be possible around this track. Just take those mediums around 15 laps, which is possible. I believe they do peak at around 13-14 laps, so you could even pit then, and those soft tyres could definitely go a good old 8 or 9 laps before they run out of fuel, run out of steam, basically, or run out of rubber, would have been the more appropriate way of putting it. But it's a good start for Zach Jarvis. He's 22 seconds behind, but I mean, that won't close in too much, but he may close in here. We will keep up to date with the deltas for him as long as these two don't pit, but it looks like they will be doing this lap. Or Ivahanen does anyway. Jonas does decide to stay out another lap, though.
Yeah, so Ivahanen coming into the pits, maybe to cover off the pit stop of Riley, of course. Riley just getting out ahead of Aaron, who has managed to pass Nicky. We did see a yellow flag briefly flash up in Sector 2, and I think in the middle of all that, Aaron did manage to get ahead of Nicky. So Aaron now in 7th place. That is a net 4th position at the moment. Could we see him getting on the podium? Nicky looks like he's really going to have an amazing last 2/3 of this race if he wants to take the Drivers' Championship to the next round in Brazil. Where will these guys come out in relation to Ivahanen? Ivahanen, I think, should be pretty well clear of these guys. It's going to be pretty close coming out the pit lane. We'll see where he is. We've got Stevie Hart there in 5th, and yeah, Ivahanen ahead of all of them, so he stays out there in 4th place now. The undercut not really working for Riley, Aaron and Nicky there, you must have to say. Says to me, them soft tyres have still got plenty of life left in them, and these mediums not as good as they would want them to be, as Riley now tries to go around the outside of Stevie Hart. I don't think the Ferrari's going to have any defence to that, and Riley now up into 5th position.
And now he's got his teammate. Is he going to let him go? I wonder, because it looks like his teammate has got much more pace going by Riley than, for example, on those medium tyres. So I wonder if it's more of now the tables are turning now, which may affect Jonas. Like I said, I thought Riley's lap was the best lap to come in, but apparently not. Apparently leaving it a lap later was even good for Ivahanen. He must have put in a smashing lap on his in lap to come into the pits then, because it looked like those soft tyres were starting to go around the lap that Riley pitted. So who knows? It could have been just a bad lap from Riley at the end of the day. Maybe he misjudged it, but he tried doing the undercut. It didn't work, but he will go again because there is another pit stop available. Let's not forget, and that could obviously be bring him back into Ivahanen. So there's only a 1 lap difference to their tyres as well on the mediums.
Yeah, Jonas is in this lap now, so the race leader has come in. Will he still come out in the lead of this race? We're on board with Ivahanen at the moment, and I think this is going to be extremely close between the two of them. They're going to be side by side. Ivahanen has the momentum though, and the undercut did work for the Mercedes. He's up into second, but that is the net lead of this race. He's only 1.6 behind Zach at the moment, so I don't think it'll be too long before he's in the actual lead here. So fantastic pit strategy at the moment from the Mercedes of Ivahanen. In second place, jumping Jonas, who now he'll have DRS, so he'll have a chance to maybe save a bit of fuel and ERS at this point in the race. Riley and Aaron trying to make their way up through the field, getting ahead of Indecisive Mac, and Nicky also saving his way through. And in fact, I think Indecisive just went into the back of Nicky there slightly. We saw the Renault getting a bit lively, thankfully managed to keep facing in the right direction, and it doesn't look like the Williams has done any damage. So that'll be a bit of a relief there from Nicky that he didn't get involved in that contact, because I did see earlier as Stevie Hart was letting Aaron by, Nicky came very close to making contact to the Ferrari, so he doesn't need any bad luck here today, because that will definitely be championship chances over.
Oh yeah, Ivahanen, he's going to retake the lead here. I don't even know about Jonas. Jonas is probably not going to get close enough, but Ivahanen's so lucky there. Well, I wouldn't really say lucky, but so fortunate that Zach was there at that time, and now Jonas has to struggle for around a quarter of the lap to get past Zach here, because it's quite difficult to get past on the start-finish straight. And obviously, well, he's going to do it. It looks like he's got the momentum, but he's actually backed out, and he's going to have to wait a little longer. This only favours Ivahanen even more, you know, because now Ivahanen is around a second away, and if the DRS detection zone tells us properly, it looks like Jonas may not have the DRS to catch up to Ivahanen, but he hasn't got past Zach Jarvis, so he will have it. But still, again, he's around 1.5 seconds now behind Ivahanen, and Zach is not giving up the position, not at all, but he'll have to now, as Jonas now has a big catch-up game to go through, and obviously he's got to catch up 3 tenths to even have a chance of closing in even further to Ivahanen, which is going to be very, very difficult.
Yeah, it's going to be tough indeed now. So Jonas, 1.4 seconds behind. He's really going to have to push to get onto the back of the Mercedes. This is working out even better for our race leader at the moment. Started in second place, stayed there in the first stint. The undercut worked out perfectly for him, and he's now leading on lap 10. So further down the field then, you've got this battle for what is currently 4th position between Riley, Aaron and Nicky. I think Riley got a slightly better exit there out of the Chapel Corner than the Toro Rosso ahead. We're looking on board at Nicky at the moment. So Zach again here, he could really hold Riley up, and we've seen how much he held Jonas up a lap before. No, Riley saying, I want to get past you pretty early on, diving down the inside there at Vale, and that is just going to force you off the circuit. It's really going to cost him. Zach's still there, trying as hard as possible. Is Riley going to be able to go all the way around the outside of Abbey? He's going to have the momentum. This will be brave. This will be extremely brave if he can pull this off. He's off the circuit, and that might just give Aaron the chance he needs as he tries to go now down the inside of Zach. Zach's really causing a few problems here, but he's just defending his position as he is entitled to. But it has allowed both the Renault and the Ferrari to get past Riley.
Yeah, very aggressive from Zach, really leaving him enough space though for what I could see, but really pushing Riley to the limits of the track, really. And I'm not so sure about it. He should really be in the way here, but then again, he is fighting for track position basically, but those mediums are far worse than these guys, and really he should have let them go. But look at it again, he's closing Riley off there, but obviously, you know, Riley was not close enough to warrant really me saying that, but he was basically pushing Riley to the limits of the track and was really affecting Riley, and that was the meaning why he was going wide really through those corners, and why he lost obviously all those positions. And now he's going to have a good exit, and hopefully now he can get by him. But look again, still Zach stays ahead of him, and Riley now will have to get it down the inside here of Stowe. Let's see if he's got it. It looks like he has. Although, you have seen switchbacks at Stowe very easily made, and just about given enough space there, Riley. But Riley giving Zach a little bit of a taste of his own medicine. But mind you, Riley is now getting away, but he's got a lot of ground to make up, because just like Jonas, he's now 1.5 seconds behind the next car ahead, so a podium is looking further distant than what he would have wanted right now.
Yeah, and Rich, who was teammate with Zach Jarvis for a few races, he's now going to try and get past Vittorio Rosso, and the other Red Bull of Gazaman saw a few yellow flags there. He got it wrong coming through Maggots and Beckett, so he's dropped down to 50th position, and that is going to be much easier for Rich than it was for Riley. That's the importance of just having a bit of luck and catching the car up at the right part of the circuit. Rich now up into 6th place. Riley's going to have a big job to catch up to Nicky and Aaron, but Jonas, he's proven it's possible. He's got it down to half a second. He's going to be within DRS range of Ivanen this time around. Could we see the McLaren possibly retake the lead? We are on lap 12 of this race, and in the first stint it was Jonas who pulled away a bit on the soft tyres before Ivanen closed him up. This one's gone the opposite.
It has gone the opposite. You've got to be careful with this sort of move down to Stowe. He's going to get him. If they go side by side, it does look like the McLaren's going to go for it. He's going to go for it around the outside, and that's actually a very easy move. Very well done for Jonas. He retakes the lead. But now it's Everhanen's turn to attack Jonas then, as Aaron also making a move on Nicky there. So Nicky's got a poor exit out of Stowe as well. But I think the move was coming anyway. Before the corner, we even saw like how much momentum Jonas had to Everhanen. But if they did go side by side, I wouldn't have really took too many risks through there. Just try not to obviously cause an incident for Everhanen, especially because obviously a simple thing that could send him round, that could obviously take the title fight to the final day. But obviously Nicky needs to win this race to really have a realistic chance in any sense of the question to win the championship. Hasn't won a race so far, but he is fighting with Aaron for a podium right now, as he does go down the inside. No, he doesn't. He backs out of it. And maybe, I would say it's more of the opposite for Nicky to what I said to Ivanen. Nicky really needs to get out of Aaron's way. Really needs to get forward, get catching Ivanen. Otherwise, this title is going to slip even further and further away from him at this current point, because that 4-second gap is not going to get smaller sticking behind Aaron.
Yeah, he might have to try something different in the pit stops if he doesn't manage to get past Aaron pretty shortly. He did try into Stowe last time around, but just ran wide on the exit of the corner, and Aaron was able to get the place back. And again, that Renault looks better out of Chapel than the Ferrari. Aaron's going to have to stay over to the right-hand side, I feel, if he wants to defend this. Is Nicky going to be able to sweep round the outside like we saw Jonas do? No, Aaron still stays there. He's well entitled to stay for that position. That will give Nicky, though, the inside line into Vale, and he has taken 3rd position. So now we can see how much can he close in on Ivanen, who wasn't able to fight back that time around. And I think you're right, Sam. Ivanen just did the right thing. It was a fantastic manoeuvre from Jonas, but the Mercedes driver could have definitely made it a lot harder for him if he'd have wanted to. We are now halfway through this race. The pole sitter back in the lead. The 1, 2, 3, actually, how they were on the grid. Will they finish up that way? We're going to see a lot more battling, I think, here, especially Nicky and Aaron. Those tyres are going to start wearing a lot quicker than those ahead. 3 laps older than the Mercedes of Ivanen, and 4 laps older than Jonas Ulbricht. So you'd expect them to start losing pace on them two roundabout now.
Well, I'll tell you something. Maybe the first one, obviously the losers in the first stint would have been these people to pit earlier onto the medium tyres. However, they're going to get onto those soft tyres, and they're going to be languishing free on that final stint as well, because those soft tyres are going to be quicker, because obviously they carry less fuel as well. And if that is the case, then Nicky really needs to pick up the pace. As Aaron spun. Aaron's made a mistake through Maggots and Beckett, and that is him round, and that is him going to be losing a few positions, because it weren't fully round, but unfortunately for him, it's not really what he wanted, because he was fighting for a podium. But Nicky's going to be happy with that, because he's got a lot of free air now, and he hasn't really got the pressure behind him to be warranting any mistakes. Now he needs to catch up to Everhanen, and talking about that, he has caught up around 5 tenths this lap alone, so he has definitely been pushing this lap, but we'll want to see if he can close it even further. Look at that, a massive amount made. I wonder if Everhanen's made a little mistake here at turn 3, but I don't really know, but Nicky is doing the right thing right now, and I would say if you pit around lap 17, lap 18, you've got the most out of those medium tyres, you're onto the soft tyres, completely go for it. Eva Hannen and Jonas will then have to make a decision, really, whether they want to go on the soft tyres afterwards, because if they do, then who knows, because again, those medium tyres could be completely different to the soft tyres, because you've got fresh tyres on the softs compared to worn mediums, and obviously the soft tyres are going to be way quicker, so Nicky's got a bit of a game to play here, and it's going to be very difficult for him to catch up, but if these two don't play the game correctly out ahead, then Nicky's got a really good chance for getting his first victory here in one hub.
Yeah, I think if Nicky maybe just leaves it another lap or two, he'll come out ahead of Alex Lilliard, who's currently in 12th place, and then there's a bit of a gap there, you can see, about 7.5 seconds to Catboy Key, so that is plenty of free air to take full advantage of those soft tyres and possibly secure yourself a crucial fastest lap point, because you do get a fastest lap if you finish in the top 10 here at one hub, and you also get one if you finish outside the top 10, as Aaron at Stowe there making a move past Lee Hoffner, who's on the grass there. I think he was trying to cut back on Aaron. I'm not sure if there was any contact between the two of them, but Lee Hoffner now drops behind the Ferrari, who was on to equal his best result of the season, but that mistake coming through just before we got to the chapel corner there from Aaron has dropped him down into 6th position. We see Catboy Key, he's now up into the points as Indecisive Mac making his first pit stop of the race on lap, well, yeah, it will be his first pit stop on lap 16 for him, yes. And you can see the stops here, he's the only driver not to have stopped yet. Gazza and Truth have both done 2 pit stops, but we're expecting the first scheduled stops of the leaders to come pretty soon, as Nicky, Riley and Rich probably be the first few drivers in, and Aaron as well. Can Nicky take advantage of that free air once he gets it? But yeah, he's still closing in on Ivahan, and that gap now 3 seconds, and he's beginning to slowly reel in Jonas Ulbricht, and Nicky, he needs to do 10.5 qualifying laps really to keep his championship chances alive, and it looks like that's what he's going for.
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't understand the indecisive strategy. I was just about to talk about that, but why he started on the hards was a bit of a baffling one for me. The hard tyres feel terrible around this track, and it obviously showed because he's now down in 13th, and he's got to make another stop, which will lose a position to 2 guys who have made 2 stops already. So obviously, who knows? Nicky's continuing to fight on this lap. You said that he should come in around this lap now. And Aaron, though, does make that act and does come into the pits this lap. So I wonder what the reactions are going to be from people like Dexter, Le Hoffner, and potentially Rich as well, and maybe Riley also. But for Nicky, it's all about whether he comes in this lap. And obviously for Everhanen and Jonas, realising that Aaron's coming to the pits just in general, could really shake up this race in the final stint. And I'm really interested to see how Aaron does on those soft tyres, and if he can start putting in top laps, and maybe if he can just really pick up the pace and maybe go for a podium here. I think a win would be in doubt though.
Yeah, he's going to have about 5 or 6 seconds of free air coming out in 11th place, and that puts Alex Lilliard into the points. All I can think of Indecisive Mac's strategy here is just do about 4 or 5 laps on one set of soft tyres, get them off, chuck another set of soft tyres on, and go for that fastest lap point. I think he knows that on pure pace he's probably not going to make the top 10, so maybe just focusing on that point for the fastest lap. But got some fast eyes down there. We saw how quick Truth and Gazzaman were earlier on in this race, so they might go for another pit stop as well to try and steal that extra point. Rich in the slipstream of Riley Bays on the run up to Stone, not able to do anything this time around as Nicky stays out again, and it is Ivahanen coming into the pits. That is interesting indeed, and we've had a spinner, and that is Alex Lilliard, so that's going to promote Aaron back up. He won't have to worry about overtaking him, and Alex now down behind Aaron, only losing 1 place. Lee Hoffner coming in as well, so Nicky, surprised he hasn't come in earlier on.
You could say that, but like Eva Hannon, he made the good choice in the first one to stay a little longer, which obviously put him in the lead of this race. And he's obviously seen that the soft tyres can definitely go to the end now. They can make 8 laps easily. But Nicky now really needs to put on the pace on this last lap. And surely this lap we're going to see Nicky come in. And if it is, he really needs a good lap on these medium tyres to make sure that Everhanen doesn't come out ahead of him. Heck, even Aaron come out ahead of him, because Aaron is really on the pace right now, and he isn't that far away from Eva Hannon either. And those two are going to be absolutely rapid on these next 2 laps. It's Indecisive showing there, setting a 1 minute, was it a 1 minute 28? I can't really see from Riley, Aaron's Ferrari there, because I'm on board with him, but it was a 1 minute 28 something, so that just shows how quick the softs are compared to the mediums, which are probably set in the mid 31s, maybe even in the 32s for some people. So it's really a whole point of choice now, and surely Jonas is going to react. He does react. Does Nicky react? Yes, he does. What about Riley then? This should be a lap where everyone reacts. Riley does not, so Riley stays out another lap, and so does Rich, to continue on this battle. But I don't really know about their decision. I don't think their decision is that great, because the soft tyres, they could definitely go a good old 9-10 laps before they completely fall off away from you. So whether their decision is correct or not, I don't really know. But Riley is in the lead of this race for now, but Jonas here is just about to come out of the pits now. He's just coming towards the end of it. And obviously Nicky as well. We'll see Eva Hannon coming through the final corner. Has Jonas made the right call? He has. Nicky? No, he doesn't. So Jonas does stay out ahead, but Jonas was ahead anyway. It was roughly the same distance for all of them actually, which I'm actually kind of surprised about. But Aaron JS I want to talk about. He is not far from Nicky, considering that he got spun around. He's definitely closer to Nicky than what he was, but definitely not close enough to make any moves whatsoever though.
Yeah, I am very surprised that Rich didn't dive into the pit straight when he saw Riley carrying straight on for another lap, trying to get that undercut done, especially on soft tyres. Maybe that'll be the difference between a possible podium as Red Bull there drifting his way through Maggots and Beckett's. Well held. He's still going to get DRS off Riley, but definitely not going to be close enough to affect an overtake. Pitting 1 lap earlier has got Eva Hannon ever so slightly closer to the back of Jonas. That gap now hovering round about a second, but is Nicky net 3rd place at the moment. What can he do? 1 lap fresher tyres than Eva Hannon. He is going to push like he has never pushed before if he wants to stay in this championship. We'll have a look now and see who has still got to pit. Rich this time does come in, as does Dexter, with the second Alfa Romeo having to serve another penalty. So Riley staying out a bit longer, maybe not as confident on these soft tyres that we're seeing everyone else go to as some of the others, but you can see they're just locking up as it goes into like this village section, really struggling on those mediums. I think he's going to lose a lot of time as Eva Hannon there now, fastest lap of the race. He's really on the back of Jonas Ulbricht. He wants to take the race victory here and secure this podium tier championship in style.
I don't really get Riley's decision, despite the fact that Dexter hasn't come in. That's the only thing I can really gather from this. I feel it's really poor for Riley, because if you look at the gap to the leader of him, obviously this pit lane is around 30 seconds long, perhaps even longer, with most of them now on the soft tyres to the end now. They're going to be closing in, and he could be down to like 6th place here, maybe even 7th if Lahofner can catch up a little further. I'm not sure exactly how long this pit lane is, but it's definitely, like you said, one of the longest. But Riley could even fall behind Rich here. Riley's put himself in a very peculiar position, and you saw him struggling as well. I want to see how he does through Stowe, because is he going to struggle through here as well? He gets through there quite nicely, but then again, he's not at full pace as he does come into the pits finally now. A bit of a lock up there as he's struggling to get to the pits, but obviously he's going to drop a lot of positions here. And we see Eva Hannon as well, very close to Jonas, who's really favoured these soft tyres more than Jonas has, as it looks like. So who knows what's going to happen at the end of this race. Is Eva Hannon going to seal his championship off with a victory, or is he going to make a simple mistake and Nicky's back in it again? Who knows? Anything can happen now.
Yeah, we've got just 6 laps remaining at the moment here. Jonas taking the lead of the race. We're going to see where Riley drops here, because Aaron's managed to jump past Rich in the pit stop period. Will he be able to jump the Alfa Romeo driver as well? And will the Red Bull of Rich pull off the undercut? He is going to do so. He's going to have way more momentum there. And there you see Rich up into 5th place. Riley 6th. Lee Hoffner, he's 7th, but he's gone for the medium tyres. So he could find himself under pressure in these final couple of stages from the Toro Rosso of Ponysttown, who thankfully this time around has done the 2 stops. It is now only Indecisive Mac, Stevie Hart and Jess who are yet to do the compulsory 2 stops. So Ponysttown's going to get his first points of the season. He could well be finishing in 7th place here, as Rich has managed to get
Riley.
past Aaron.
What is going on here? Rich, Aaron and Riley all getting a little scrap here. First of all, Aaron was going very wide there, which I suggest that Rich has sent it down Aaron's inside supposedly, and Aaron's gone very wide up the corner and then came on, broke a lot earlier than Riley expected. Riley almost lost the car and almost ended up spinning through Luffield there, so Riley's quite lucky, but he's got to chase these two back down, who are going to continue battling, which is going to help him even more. And look at Aaron. Aaron's closing in. He's picked the outside line then. He must do, because Rich has gone super defensive. It doesn't matter though. Aaron's got 4th place. Rich down to 5th. And Riley's still in here in 6th. But Riley is going to be pushing now for the top position. And Aaron could be under threat in these last 4 laps, because his tyres are going to be a little worse than what Rich's and Riley's are. So this is going to be an interesting battle for 4th place coming towards these final few laps. Eva Hannon's lost a little bit more ground to Jonas though as well.
Yeah, Nicky, he's got that gap down now to 2.7 seconds to the lead. That's a 2.3 behind Eva Hannon. He's really pushing, but he's got to try and catch up to the Mercedes without any DRS. Eva Hannon does have that assistance, of course, but Jonas, still at the moment, you've got to say, looking pretty good to take his first win of the season. First win since returning to the podium tier. Aaron now, again, having to go defensive into Brooklands, and Rich not able to get past him this time around, perhaps because the Alfa Romeo of Riley is a bit closer than he was before. Indecisive Mac has now pitted again, and that will surely be for another set of soft tyres as he tries to secure that bonus point for the fastest lap outside the top 10. He does currently hold that, and it is Eva Hannon who will get it for those inside the top 10. Eva Hannon though, he'll be thinking more about the win and the championship. This is the biggest battle out on track at the moment. Very close for 4th, 5th and 6th position. And again, Rich, he's not enjoying that through Maggots and Beckett, and that really compromises him through Chapel. He has a slow run onto the hanger straight. This time though, he's got DRS off the Ferrari, but I think Riley might still think about sending it down the inside into Stowe. That was a very decisive overtake from last week's race winner, and Riley up into 5th place now. And you also got Ponish Town on those soft tyres. He's closing onto the back of Lee Hoffner. I think the Haas could be a sitting duck here in the final 4 laps.
Definitely, and I just saw that overtake from Riley. Very clean, very precise as well, making sure that he doesn't cause any more of an incident that he possibly could have. Rich there doing very well as well, obviously as a driver, being very aware, making sure obviously that he doesn't snap into Riley and both of them crash out. Eva Hannon still just sticking behind Jonas, but he looks hungry though, as I see, and look at Riley looking hungry as well, going down the inside of Aaron here on the straight and through Brooklands. Now we go. He's gonna maintain the position. That's very good defending from Riley, keeping it in 4th place. A little bit of oversteer though out of that corner, but it looks like he's maintained 4th place for now. So once again, a very good move. You see Portage Town as well getting very close to Le Hoffner, which Le Hoffner, like you said, is looking to be a sitting duck, and we'll surely see that now through Maggots and Beckett's. Yeah,
it might just help him out a bit here to keep the Toro Rosso behind him. He'll be hoping those softs wear out on the car behind him at the moment. So that's the battle for 7th and 8th. Riley's forcing his way back up through the field, managing to get past Rich on the hanger straight and then past Aaron on the Wellington straight, taking full advantage of DRS. And Ponish Town, he hopes that he's able to do the same this time around. Lee Hoffner not really bothering to go defensive. He knows the Toro Rosso is on the quicker tyres at this point in the race. And there we go, 7th position for Ponish Town. Lee Hoffner 4.5 seconds ahead of Dexter with 3 laps to go. So that should be enough of a gap, but we know how quick Dexter can be. There's Eva Hannon, he's still looking for the victory in this race, but Nicky's now got that gap down to less than a second. He's going to have DRS. We could very soon have a 3-way battle in the final couple of laps for the lead of this race, and Nicky, he's got absolutely nothing to lose at the moment. Surely if he gets close to Eva Hannon, he's just going to send it down the inside.
Well, he needs to, doesn't he? Obviously you've got a championship fighting, but it don't really matter at the moment unless a certain mistake. There's a 10-second gap between Riley and Nicky, so obviously for now Eva Hannon just needs to not make mistakes. There's no point attacking the car too much because he's not really in the position to lose the championship. He's in a position to win it at the moment, but like you said, Nicky is on the charge. He wants to win a race at least this season. I think that would be creditable enough for this season. It's great enough that he's in 2nd place because of his pure consistency this season. But but he doesn't. He just wants to go win a race. I'm pretty sure he's ambitious to get one of those victories anyway. Eva Hanen very, very close to Jonas. These two battling for the lead. If Eva Hanen does make a mistake, like I said, it could change the whole frame in these 3 laps, and it is possible as well, but who knows?
Yeah, who knows indeed. Nicky said in the pre-race interviews last week that he didn't really think the championship was on at the moment, and he'd just be pretty happy with getting a victory this season. He's going to have to make up 1.4 seconds in the final 2 laps here. Now on the penultimate lap, Jonas still holding off Eva Hanen at the moment. Eva Hanen has nothing to gain from going for a risky move on the McLaren at the moment. Got DRS down the Wellington straight, but not going to be able to do anything about it this time around. We look further down the field, both Haas drivers still in the points. Catboy Key currently 10th, Truth NRP showed some good pace earlier, but after a few aggressive overtakes, one too many, you can see he's dropping down the pit lane as he now pits again. That will be for the soft tyres as he tries to set the fastest lap here and steal that point away from indecisive Mac. Eva Hanen still trying to steal the victory away at the moment. Riley, he's pulling away from Aaron and Rich for 4th position at the moment, so it looks like the Alfa Romeo driver is going to continue his good form, although Jonas will overtake him in the championship for that battle for 3rd position at the moment. Eva Hanen, DRS open, he's closer than he's been before. Is he going to be close enough to send it? I think he thought about it there and decided not to, perhaps wisely at the last minute, because the only way he's really going to lose this championship at the moment is if he has a crash with Jonas and takes the pair of them out.
Well, here we go then, we're on the final lap, or perhaps the final lap of the Drivers' Championship. I'm not really sure about the Constructors' Championship though, but Rich and Gazaman really needs to get some points here, really, to make that happen. But look at how close Eva Hanen actually is with Jonas. I mean, he wants to win the championship and is pretty much sure, unless obviously the scenario, like you said, these two crash out, or one of them crash out at least, of this race. Obviously, we've got that sort of scenario. We wouldn't expect Eva Hanen to be really pushing so much. Mind you, looking at Nicky, how close he is, a simple little tap and a simple racing incident between Eva Hanen and Nicky can put Eva Hanen out of the race, but then again, may not even be Nicky's fault. So we've also got that scenario, which is a possibility of happening. However, Eva Hanen is looking very close, and maybe he wants to seal this championship off with a race victory. And oh my word, that is probably something he wouldn't want to see, a 3-second time penalty. Luckily, the people behind obviously are not really a threat to him because they're nowhere near, but you know, there is certain scenarios which could happen. But it looks like Jonas has got away pretty nicely, and it looks like Jonas is going to come on to win this race after all. So who knows what can happen now, but it looks like Eva Hanen has got this championship in the bag, but who's got the victory in the bag?
Yes, Jonas rounds a final couple of corners, took the lead at the start, lost it in the first pit stops, but managed to get back ahead of Eva Hanen. So it is Jonas with the race victory. Eva Hanen drops down to 3rd on penalties, but he will not care. He is the podium tier champion here at season 15. Aaron and Rich battling all the way to the line. It's going to be Riley who takes 4th place.
Oh my word. Oh, Rich has got him anyway on pens, but Rich really had the opportunity there. He really got a great exit off the second to last corner, and then at the end there, Aaron just not giving him any space at the end there, but Rich gets the position anyway.
Yeah, Rich.
But yeah, Eva Hanen. Sorry about that.
No worries, you were saying anyway, Eva Hanen, I'm guessing you were going to say he's had a fantastic season. 3rd place today, but amazing. Good enough to take the championship, and it's good enough for Mercedes as well to secure the Constructors.
It has got enough. So it has got enough for Mercedes to get the Constructors, as I literally start to jumble my words up a lot again. However, then Eva Hanen has done what the team needs, and they are Constructors champions tonight. And of course, Eva Hanen himself, congratulations to him. He is the Drivers' Champion, and as we said at the start of the stream, he will be winning a wheel stand and other prizes from One Hub, which Luke can tell me what they are, because I've forgotten.
It's a trophy, obviously the prestige of the championship is why you're doing it, but a trophy, £20 PSN, and a Next Level Racing wheel stand doesn't exactly hurt, for being honest. Fantastic performance though from Jonas, his first win of the season. He will be absolutely delighted with how the race went today. It's his first win ever at One Hub, surprising for a man who's now had 14 podiums here. You can see Nicky, what another second position from Nicky, his fourth of the season, and yeah, it looks as though he's probably going to be ended up second in the championship as well, because we know he can't beat Eva Hannon, but he is a long way ahead of Jonas Ulbricht. So these three currently the top three in the championship, but in reverse order to what they are on the podium. We now wait for the race results to come up. It was Jonas who kept it clean to take the victory by less than a second from Nicky. Eva Hannon with the fastest lap, but most importantly, he is the champion. Riley managing to make up a couple of places at the end to get fourth. Rich fifth. Aaron, despite that spin earlier on, still finishing in sixth. Ponish Town, his first points of the season, in seventh. Dexter eighth. Lee Hoffner and Catboy Key, both Hassers continuing their decent form of late to get in the points, ninth and 10th. Gazaman, 11th place. He'll be disappointed with that after a spin earlier. Zach Jarvis could only recover to 12th after his qualifying ban. Alex 13th. Truth 14th, getting the fastest lap. Indecisive, Stevie Hart, Jess Gamer were the other finishers. Everyone who started the race finished. Obviously, Astronaut, he got disconnected earlier on. So, Sam, who would you say is your driver of the day?
Well, I'm going to simply say Eva Hannon, and even though he did drop a position from second to third, obviously, as someone who came into today knowing that today a good result would clinch him the championship, the cool head that he had tonight, he didn't exactly show any sort of he didn't exactly show any pressure at all. Got a good qualifying in second place on the front row of the grid. Started brilliantly compared to Jonas and got straight into the lead. And although he didn't keep it, it was still an amazing performance. And obviously keeping a cool head when he's sitting behind Jonas. Didn't think too much about passing him so much. Maybe he wanted that win, but he didn't fight so aggressively. He didn't take too many risks that he didn't need to take. He just got what he needed to do. He did what he needed to do, and that's won him the championship tonight. So it's a brilliant performance again from Eva Hannon, and he made a lot of right choices tonight, and he's my driver of the day for those reasons.
Yeah, I think for similar reasons of keeping it nice and calm under pressure, I'm going to go for Jonas. It started from pole, his best opportunity of getting a win, but as I said, he'd had 13 podiums before this race. He was a bit becoming in danger of becoming the Nick Heidfeld of One Hub, always being there on the podium, but never quite managing to get the victory. But he soaked up all the pressure. We know how quick Eva Hannon and Nicky are, especially Nicky at the end of this race. He was blisteringly quick to close up that gap. He was about 5 seconds behind with just over 10 laps remaining, so he did fantastically well to close that gap. But I think Jonas, just for soaking up the pressure today and having a fantastic performance, he's going to be my driver of the day, and you can vote for the driver of the day. That vote will be coming up tomorrow on Twitter alongside all the other votes for the other two tiers, Precision and Pinnacle. Talking of the Precision tier, that is underway now with Owen and Austin. They are currently got 8 minutes to go in the qualifying session there, and we could well see Janel take the championship there tonight. Alex Ulliart, he's be jumping from the cockpit into the comms box. He could well see Louis take the championship in the Pinnacle tier. That qualifying there will start at 8:30. But from myself and Sam, thank you so much for joining. Thank you also for all your messages in the chat. I hope you enjoyed the race as much as we did. It was a race where we saw Eva Hannon clinch his first ever One Hub title. Thanks you also to our sponsors, Next Level Racing, who you can check out in the description. Both the championships might be over, but you can be guaranteed that the Brazilian Grand Prix next time out for the finale of season 15 will bring the same action that we have seen all season long. Good night.